Hey gang, Tony here with another edition of the weekly movie roundup. Everything that I watched during the week. That's what this is all about. Drinking my coffee here, little Gremlins mug from Allie and Austin. Have a few movies, more than last week. Some horror, some not. Some you're gonna question my sanity, but then you guys always do that. Alright, first up, okay, I want to say about half a year ago, I was watching Sleepaway Camp Part 2 on Netflix, and it hit midnight, and apparently that day was the day that they were taking down Sleepaway Camp 2, and I was about 20 minutes before the end of the movie, and it just turned off, and I realized that it had been taken down, so that really was kind of crappy. But recently, Netflix put Sleepaway Camp 2 back on, along with Sleepaway Camp Part 3. So I watched the rest of Sleepaway Camp 2, and I watched all of Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. Over the course of like 3 days, every night I just kind of watched a little more of it. And I have to tell you, I am becoming kind of a fan of that series. The first time this is the first time I watched any of them. I've only seen the first one once, and I mean the first one is obviously classic for a very particular reason that in case someone hasn't seen it, someone like me hasn't seen it, I won't say what it is, but I wasn't aware of that, and I thought it was an okay movie. I wasn't blown away by the first one, to be honest, and anytime something's a cult classic, I always feel like I have to get it. But then if I don't, I'm like, ah, crap, I better not tell anyone that I didn't get it. Get it in the sense that, like, enjoyed it. But it was alright, and it was good enough that I wanted to check out the second two. I kind of like the second two better, because they're worse, kind of? I don't know, I know I don't make any sense, but they're just like, I kind of like when a horror movie becomes a series, and they just, like, they lean into it, in a way, and they just make it campier and more ridiculous, and they just kind of like, they kind of just go with it, you know? And the whole, like, Angela coming back and being basically just a straight up homicidal maniac is just great. It's just amazing. She just, like, wanders around killing people and does it in this very, like, kind of happy, nonchalant sort of way, and I love it. It's just great. So I dug Part 2. I also like Part 3. Probably my favorite of the series is Part 2, then maybe Part 1, then Part 3, maybe. But they're all really good for what they are. So I totally suggest watching them if you haven't seen them yet. Next up is Last Passenger. This was about a guy on a train with his kid, and he meets a girl, and then the train is hijacked, and they're trying to figure out how to stop the train. It was pretty good. It was action-packed. There were moments as I was watching it that I kind of wished I was watching Midnight Meat Train instead, but it was still a pretty decent movie. Action. I would say it's an action thriller. Of course, I don't remember any of the actors in it, and I can't tell you much more about the plot or anything like that because I suck at reviewing, which is why I do movie roundups. But it's on Netflix Instant. It's worth a watch if you're looking for something kind of with action and don't know what else to watch for the night. I would suggest watching it. Probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10 stars. Alright, next up is I'm going to do the weekly AddictedToHorrorMovies.com selection. So this is the weekly AddictedToHorrorMovies.com selection, and it is Starry Eyes. Technically, I'm cheating because I watched this one last week and I just forgot to tell you guys about it in the video. So, you know, I'm just kind of looping it in. Just gonna loop it in. Not a big deal. So, Starry Eyes was not at all what I was expecting in a good way. I'd say pretty decent body horror going on in there. Some kind of nasty stuff, gory stuff. Not too over the top. I've seen much worse. It's basically about a girl who wants to be an actress, and see, this is why I hate doing synopsis, because I don't want to tell you too much. She wants to be an actress. She goes for an audition, and it goes a little differently than she expected. That's it. I'm not going to say anymore. You watch the movie. Again, another movie that it's on Netflix Instant, so why not watch it, right? I will say this one thing that might be a little bit of a giveaway, but when the title screen came up, I immediately thought, for some reason, and I feel like they must have done it on purpose, but I immediately thought Rosemary's Baby or 70s horror, just the way the title screen looked. And it had a really cool feel that I was hoping would persist throughout the movie, but it doesn't. That feel doesn't really persist, or that atmosphere doesn't persist. But it's still a fun movie. The plot is a little meh, but I would, again, you know, if you're looking for a good body horror movie, check it out. 7 stars out of 10. Next is Time Stalkers, which is on Netflix Instant. It's an 80s movie about time travel. It's really not very good. I don't really know why I watched it either. It was one of those just why not kind of moments. I'm not gonna say much more about that. 5 or 6 stars, 5, maybe 4, or I don't know. You don't have to watch that one. So, let's not talk about this anymore. Grudge Match. Grudge Match is with Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro. Got this one through Netflix DVD rental, so come through the mail. And I wasn't sure what to expect with this one, I'll be honest. It felt like, you know, kind of like a Rocky sort of thing going on. It's two boxers who are way out of their prime, who had this grudge match that never happened when they were in their prime. And now 30 years on, they are going to do it. And I'll say, I honestly, I actually really enjoyed this movie. There was a moment at the very beginning where I was scared, because they did like a flashback to show some of the classic footage of the Kid and Razor. Those are their names in the movie. The Kid and Razor fighting in the ring. And it was awful. They used these weird, they were computer CGI fake people, like probably real bodies, but then they tried to put like young versions of De Niro and Stallone's faces on the boxers, and it looked so bad. It was just jarring how bad it was. So bad. They should, whatever company did that should just never get another job. Oh, I almost shut the movie off right there. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking awful. But besides that, the movie itself is a lot of fun. A lot of great humor throughout it. A lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff. A couple of nods to Rocky, a couple of allusions to Rocky, which you would expect in a boxing movie with Stallone. And yeah, I would totally suggest watching this. I ended up loving the movie. Probably 8 stars out of 10. Just ignore the CGI bullshit at the beginning and get into the meat of the movie. And, it's pretty formulaic. You don't expect any amazing plot twists or anything like that, but if you're going in to enjoy Stallone and De Niro in a boxing movie. I will say, the match itself could have been done a little better. I felt like the way they shot the fight, it was a little sad to see. They do a really good job for their age, but it was a little But a good movie. Check it out. And the last one this week, last movie of the week. You guys, you got promise you won't judge me. Promise you won't judge me, okay? Do you promise? I rented Paddington Bear from Redbox. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Nicole Kidman's in it, and other people, I can't remember. It was, a family movie. It was okay, I guess, for that. I looked on Rotten Tomatoes. It had like a 96% or something crazy like that. I was like, oh, wow. I guess I should see it. I should know better not to trust Rotten Tomatoes at this point. This is full of shit. but it was decent. It was alright. If you have kids, rent it. It's a really good kids movie. On that note, I'll see you guys soon. I hope you enjoyed this week's movie roundup. Let me know what you watched. Tell me if you see any of the movies I recommend or don't recommend, and what you thought. And I'll catch you next time. Alright. Read deep in the night. Bye.